good things come to all that wait. Apologies for the slight delay there. Obviously, slightly off from 7 o'clock, but you know we were just keeping you waiting. No, welcome to Only One United. Really pleased to say that it should be really fantastic tonight. And Talking Reds, which is our new interactive fan panel. So obviously, some people might want to tell me that I'm wrong. Some people might want to say you're right. I invite you to do that. That's what the comments are for. But we got some great guests tonight, and obviously we've got Namrata. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Finally, we're live.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, what time is it in India again? And there's us lot messing.
12:35, 12:36.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Still early.
Well, this is it. If you know, obviously you got to be a night owl to follow United. And Maisy, how's it going?
Very well, thank you. How are you? And honestly, I am so looking forward to this show.
Yeah, I think it should be good. I'm looking forward to it as well. Right, okay, well, let's get into it then. So, Only One United, 4 Reds by Reds. And I would say the first thing I'm going to say tonight is a number, 100, right? No, that isn't the amount of time Skinner says energy. No, it's not the amount of time that Skinner talks about the wind or about aggression. It's actually the 100th game tomorrow against Leicester. Thank God for that, Maisy?
Wow, 100th game though. You just literally can't believe it's been the 100th game, can you, to be honest? And it's just been so good of how our ladies have formed from all the way from 2018, coming as a team and building the team to this brilliant team where it is now, what is competing for Champions League. I couldn't be any prouder to be a Manchester United fan, to be honest.
No, definitely. I mean, it's funny because it kind of snuck up on us a little bit. We weren't really expecting it to be 100. I mean, we've been to a lot of them. What are your thoughts about the 100th game? We'll obviously go into Leicester in a bit. Namrata.
Yeah. Actually, I was a bit surprised we are now reaching 100 because I think I'm kind of used to the men's football where like each season we have around 50 games and within 2 seasons you have about 100, but we have to fit like 50 million international breaks in women's football, so it takes a little bit of time. But great, right? Great. 100 game against Leicester. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously February was, I mean, we're just going to leave it at February, wasn't it? Unfortunately, it wasn't what we wanted. I mean, obviously playing City twice is never ideal. But obviously looking into you know, obviously March, we've got a bit of an easy run of it, but we are playing Leicester that can be a bit of a bogey team for ourselves. But they are missing people like Jess Digsworth, obviously an original OG21. So if you were rallying the troops then, Maisy, just before they go on the pitch at 12 o'clock tomorrow, what would you be saying in relation to what we need to do when we start against Leicester?
What I would need to say in coming into this team, I always say you can only beat what's in front of us at the end of the day. We need to look at that and think, right, they are a brilliant team, but we need to go that one step forward to show that we have got the quality compared to these other teams. We are the best team on that pitch. And you do look at, of course, some flaws there of Leicester. Yes, they have improved in terms of the defence, but they are missing their key player, Siggy, of course. And they could be not as clinical in terms of going forward. But we have got a brilliant defence here. We've got Mary Earps, who is a well-deserved number one goalkeeper at United, well-deserved number one goalkeeper for England as well. So we need to look at that and think, right, we've improved in our attack as well. We've got Brun, Martha Thomas, got Russo, got Tooney, who could even play as a false nine. I know that is not something we want, but she can still do that false nine. So what we need to do, for one, is we need to keep possession of the ball. Leicester are that type of team for me who keeps high possession. Like you see some teams like the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the Man Cities who like to keep at 70% possession of the ball. Leicester isn't like that. Gives us a lot more freedom. They can give the ball the odd time away. So it gives that more opportunities for Man United. And especially if we are playing without a CDM, we need to make sure that we have got one touch pass, one touch pass, one touch pass. So we need to make sure that the passing is 100% key coming into this game. We always, possession is going to truly help, and we need to put our chances away as well, because
Oh, and there's a bit of a frozen there. Yeah, Maisy, you still with us?
Yeah, I think she's probably lost connection.
Yeah, I think she might have lost connection there. But I think you're saying, obviously, there are things we need to do differently with Leicester. But for me personally, I think it's a bit simpler. I think we just need to hit them hard when we first start. I think when you watch most of our games and we do score first, or we break out quite quickly, then we can shock people. And before they know where they are, they're 1-0 down or they're 2-0 down. I think the problem is, because we've had a run of nervous experiences with some of the top three, then that's more difficult, isn't it? But I mean, how do you think it's going to work tomorrow?
I think I just want to see a reaction from them. I hope that the players are hurting. I know February was like a really difficult time for us. It was, we played all these big three teams, and then back, after the Arsenal match when we defeated them in Conti Cup, I think the confidence was like sky high. It looked like, we are going for the league and all of that. And I think for the players as well, when they go through a match like that, they kind of, they get all that confidence, and then kind of to come back down to earth after all those defeats against City, it's not easy. And, last few matches, I could see that they're shorn of confidence. They don't, it's, you kind of don't want to get used to losses, right? You want to go out and really have that conviction that, we're not just going to win against Leicester, we're going to win by a huge margin. And that's what teams like Chelsea do. That's what teams like City do and Arsenal do. They'll have a bad game, and the next game, they're like almost waiting for that chance to pounce on that next team which is there. And I remember the last time we lost 6-1 against Chelsea. I think we were playing Birmingham. I'm probably not sure, but there was all that talk about we're going to have a comeback and we're going to show them how good we are. And but I think we did not have a very good game, but we won 2-0. And I saw like the players were like, we've shown a strong performance, we've bounced back, and we've beaten Birmingham really convincingly. But I don't want 2-0 right now. I want like a 5-0, 6-0 kind of performance. And yeah, I just want all of them to go out and get that confidence back, and I don't want them to think that, okay, all this difficult time facing these top three teams, now that this is behind us, now we can take our foot off the pedal, and these are easy teams to come, and a win is guaranteed. Because it's in situations like this when we lose games, and we are not in a position to drop points against any of the teams that we face for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think good to have you about Maisy. I think you're just about back with us.
Yes, my internet cut off. What is the likelihood of that? Like, oh my!
Tonight, probably quite high actually. But let's see what happens. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think with Mark, I mean, what I like and what's happened recently is he looks angry. There's no sort of like, he's on holiday as the manager, kind of, we could do with a win. He looked really angry after City. And, and even listening to his interview today, he talks about aggression. I mean, he's still struggling to use the word win, because that's essentially what we need. But, about aggression and those one-on-one mistakes, because I think one of the things that was difficult about City was, it literally was a game of two halves. And we played really good on the first half, and in the second half we had some really bad individual errors, which hopefully Mark may have drilled into them this week, but that's not really what we want to be doing. But obviously, let's have a quick look at what we've got in the comments. You've hardy people that are following me in this journey tonight. So obviously we've got Lansdale here. Does Jackie get in this game? I would, but not sure Mark is going to play her. Obviously, you did a fantastic show, Namrata, with Nat and with Mia Eriksson regarding the midfield dilemma. Jackie going to play?
Yeah, I don't think we have midfielders. I think we have Lad is there, maybe Danny's not there. So I think it's going to be the same midfield as last time.
Right, okay. So what was that? Are you looking at? I'm trying to remember myself now. So Katie Zellum.
Yeah. I think Zellum will be again playing defensive midfielder, which, to be honest, against teams like Leicester, she's pretty good actually in that role. So I'm not very concerned this time that, obviously she still has to keep up her game. And I think she was actually one of our best players against City. So I'm a lot more confident than I usually would be that Lad isn't there. I would really actually love to see Jackie and BBR, both of them together. But, we'll... again, not really sure because depends who's playing in the forward line. I think the team will most probably be more or less the same. I think maybe Kirsty Hansen might play on the wing. I'm not really sure because we struggled on the wing last time. But yeah, I think Tooney is kind of untouchable, right? So she has to play, and this just means that in Mark's eyes, I think it's just either of Wildeburys and Jackie Cronin. Although I would love to have both of them play together against a team like Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come to you, Maisy, in a second on this, but I think we need to shock them. It's 12 o'clock. It's always a little bit early to play football. We're yawning in the stands a little bit. I think if you can hit them hard and hit them quick, and with Jackie's ability, technical ability, okay, scoring isn't a strong point, but possibly getting people into the right position can be. So obviously building on that, obviously Vicky here has also said Jackie will start, still no Lad. So just building on that, Maisy, Jackie starts. I mean, good thing, bad thing. How do you think that'll help with my idea of hitting them hard and hitting them quickly?
I do really like Jackie as a player. I think she's one of our best midfielders. She's so technical. She works the midfield so well. But for me, because we do see a lot more of a pivot kind of formation with Matt Skinner than we do see as a 4-3-3 than we do see of a 4-4-2. It's always the pivot. So there's always going to be at least one. They've got two midfielders. You could easily play them both as a CDM, or you could, of course, have one CDM, have one midfielder there. And with Katie Zellum, she is more of a box-to-box midfielder than she is, of course, of a defensive midfielder. And with no Hayley Ladd, she will be playing there as a defensive midfielder. I just feel like, especially when it's Katie Zellum who plays a defensive midfielder, I don't feel like both her and Jackie work very well together. I think if they do play together, you need to have it as a 4-3-3 and have a CDM there in the middle just to help with that kind of play, to put it all balanced out. Or if, for example, we did it somewhere different, so if that was either dropping Jackie or dropping Katie Zellum, just so the balance of the midfield would be much better. If I was going to pick in terms of a midfielder, though, and I think if, of course, Katie does come as that CDM, which is most likely looking at, maybe I think he might go with Bo Risa, because Bo Risa, she can play in that pivot and she can also play in the 10 role we've seen in the wing before. But I do want to see some more Jackie and Bo Risa link-up play. We've seen it at Chelsea for Bo Risa's goal. It was brilliant. But I think that's what will end up happening. I think it will be Jackie who will end up being dropped, and I think she'll probably come on as a substitute.
Yeah, I think you said it was all quite realistic until you said the word Katie Zellum gets dropped, which...
It
was going to have to be one or the other, and we all know which one's getting dropped.
I know, like, theoretically it could happen, but I think we know that that's not going to happen. But no, I think the way I look at Leicester, and we'll interested to see what the panel's, what your view, Namrata, is as well on this. I'm sure we have great Leicester fans. I know, they're there, but essentially, I want Leicester as a training dummy for the rest of the matches this season. I want to put Zigna Brunn on. I wanted to get her eye in, and actually score that first goal. because I think we've got the ability. In a way, I would set up, a heavy attack anyway. That is me, but I would set up quite heavier than you would normally for Leicester, because I think we need to score a lot if we can in relation to goal difference. But I think it's just a confidence thing. I mean, Brun is a natural, or Brunny, as with a new nickname we're starting to do, is a natural striker, but she's yet to score. And I think if she doesn't score soon, it could become a psychological thing. So I think if she scores against Leicester, then hopefully the floodgates are going to open. Obviously, we always wish Jackie the ability to score. I still think it's going to happen in a meaningful game, and because we're out of both cup competitions at the minute, if it's going to happen this season, I think he's going to be the winner at Old Trafford, Namrata.
Yeah, I just remember this time last year when Casey was like, we have 7 cup games, 7 cup finals, and thank God we're not having that this time. But I don't know. I think it just I think it'll happen when we least expect it. The Jackie goal, and I'm okay even if it doesn't happen. It's fine. She has. I think what she contributes in midfield is a lot more beyond goals. And yeah. I definitely think that more than Jackie scoring, we need Sinja Brun to score goals, because I don't think she's got the service yet to score a lot of goals, but I was kind of expecting that she will be the difference against the top 3 teams. She will basically be the star player in Feb. It's fine. I think the entire team kind of struggled in the last few matches, so it's okay. But I think against teams like Leicester, where we kind of can push forward, I think, nothing like I'm expecting like a hat trick of headers from her this time around.
I'll take that. I mean, I think, whatever the scoring equivalent of a rain dance is, I think we kind of do it every match to try and get, will the ball into the net. I think that's the important thing. But obviously, we mentioned it. Obviously, great to see you, Nat, in the comments, Bruni. I think I'll definitely can work with that. I'm sure Manchester United marketing department can work with that as well. I can see that in the megastore before the end of the year, the same as the bucket hat. But I think obviously we, as Mark says, you've got to focus on the next game. But I think really it's top 3, isn't it? That's now the focus. That's our gold medal. That's our position. Obviously, I think it is possible that we can get 3rd. I think it's more than possible. And if you look at the run-in that Manchester City have got, and specifically the run-in that Spurs have got, where they're playing, essentially what as difficult as our games were in February. They're playing Reading away on Sunday. They're playing Man City the following Sunday. Then this is obviously Tottenham at home. Then Chelsea away, and then Arsenal away. So now I've read that list out. You've got to feel a bit better, haven't you, Namrata?
I think Spurs not really that much of a concern. I just hope they choose that Man City match and put everything there, and I don't care if they lose all the other matches. But I think at the least, if we kind of go into the last match of the season, having won all our games in that time, and then depending on, and even if Man City win all of their matches, we're going against Chelsea last day of the season, and we will need a win to get top 3. They will need a win to get the league. And if that is not motivation enough for you, I think nothing will. That not just to get top 3, but to like spoil Chelsea's party. So I think we can win the rest of the games. I think it's just a mentality thing. And I know Nat used to say, actually said in the last few games that if it was any other team, when we score first, we would go on to win the match. It's just that mentality thing that we have against the top 3, and that's why I think the performance against Leicester has to be good. It doesn't matter if we win. I think we will win, but it has to be like a statement performance. It has to be completely dominating so that they get their confidence back, and hopefully then we'll have all the injured players kind of come back, and we can really make a charge to last to the end of the season to get top three. And hopefully Spurs, they just give it their all against City. I think all the teams should give their all against City right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of those, but I think
Their cup final. All the teams cup final against City, please.
But I think I think, as I say, I think that we are in a stronger position than maybe people have thought about after the February that we've had. I mean, what do you think about the running that we've got in March, maybe compared to obviously Spurs?
Well, looking at our, of course, run, it's much easier. We've got rid of City now till the end of the till next season. We've got rid of Arsenal now till next season. So that's 2 out of 3 of the teams what are how you would say threats for Manchester United. So knowing that we've got rid of them 2, we picked up 1 point out of 6 there from Arsenal. We picked up 1 point out of 6 there from Manchester City as well. Them 2 points could be points what could justify us getting into the top 3, because we have seen Arsenal have dropped points against teams such as Birmingham, teams like Tottenham as well. Tottenham have got an awful run, I'll be honest, but we have got a very good run, a very, very good run. And apart from Chelsea, the team what I would be most threatened about will be probably Reading next week. Just because Reading, for me, has been the underdogs this season. I didn't expect Reading to do nowhere near as good as what they have done. They've picked up a win from Chelsea, which you wouldn't have expected. And you've seen that the WSL, it is quite unexpected. But Manchester City, they're going to have game in hand because of this cup final, which is going to be at the weekend. We've got Arsenal. They have got a bad run because they have also got cup games. They have got the Champions League in March. We've also got, of course, Tottenham being in the cups. So they're playing more games. We've got more training sessions. We can afford now to rest our best players, train them up, ready for the next game ahead. So we can afford to play our best team every single week now. So in that kind of respect, I know it's disheartening being out the Conti Cup. It's disheartening being out of the FA Cup because we're craving silverware. I understand that, but we need to look at it from another point of view to say, look, these are got 6 games this month. We don't. We could once we get Hayley Ladd back, she's coming back in our team. Jade Moore, when she comes through, we're putting her in the team. When all our players are fully fit, we'll be able to play our best team. So in them kind of respects, you think it's a bit more of an advantage for us to get into the Champions League?
Yeah, no, completely. And it's funny, you've kind of preempted Chloe here, who said, which game do you all think will be our tough game this month? Obviously, Maisie saying Reading. What about you, Namrata? Would you agree with that?
I think Reading has always been that team that second half of the season we always stumble against them, and in the most unexpected ways. I think last season we missed out on Champions League because of the match against Reading. We lost that match, right? And the season before that we drew against Reading. So. I think it's just they're really inconsistent in the sense that they'll go and they have a really good performance against teams like us, and then they'll go to an Arsenal or somebody and they'll ship in 5 goals. So they'll be up for it because they know that mentally we are really looking for this, and this time around I think they are somewhat at least in the conversation for top 3. So they'll be giving it their all, and I don't think that. We can be underestimating them at all. They're a very physical team, but I hope we have our master of the dark arts, Jade Moore, by then, and then she can show her old team how it's done, and she can actually show her new team how it's done, because I think we really need to play that physical game. Usually you have these bottom of the league team or the middle of the league teams. They usually play a lot of physical games. They make it really difficult for the game to flow. But I think for us, no matter which team that we play, I think we're a little bit soft in that area, and I want that kind of midfield, where you're not you're not like, we're not friends, right? We're not friends with anyone. I want the players to go in and really fight for every duel, every ball, and yeah, hoping we beat Reading at their own game.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. So you wouldn't be saying, if you were playing, for example, your opposition player, would you be going Hempo, or no? I'll be good. I'll be good.
George
No,
is Sandwich.
I agree. No, I mean, I think famously, if you look at Amy Turner, who was obviously
Yeah.
one of our great players, her actual partner, Angharad, used to play for Reading, and I love this sort of idea that you could play your girlfriend and just go, well, it's 90 minutes, and then just like have to have dinner later, kind of thing, and no one would ever say that she pulled out of any tackles or gave any kind of quarter in anything. So I think if she can do it, I think everybody who doesn't have a relation on the opposite side of the field, as you say, I wouldn't want them to be soft. I think that we need to get as physical as we can. My hardest game on paper is probably one of the easiest, and it's Everton, because it's at Old Trafford, and only because Skinner's talked about sports psychologists and having the right frame of mind. They have a lot of fans there, and there's going to be a lot of pressure to win. And even though Everton can't really hit a barn door at the moment, I can see that being a bit cagey, maybe. That's why I'm hoping we'll get some good results before then, with that being obviously on the 27th of March. Obviously, just looking again, in the comments here as well. Vicky's saying that she misses obviously Aoife and Millie as a partnership. I think that might help with what we were saying earlier about steadying the ship to allow us to go forward. I think that's that's important. And obviously Niall here, saying that that what we said before. If we get an early goal tomorrow, it will lift the whole team and put a big statement and a huge reaction. Yeah, I can't agree more to that, really. And that's not just talking about how I'm going to jump up and down at the sidelines. But I think it's one of those where we are a team that likes momentum, and as you say, because we play internationals every 5 seconds, it can be hard. It's feast or famine with the WSL. You either play 3 games in a week. We're a very small squad up and down the country. I'm looking at you, Bridgewater, Chelsea. And and I can't even remember what the third game was. What was the third game in that row?
Arsenal.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? That wasn't that easy. I remember that now. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
We must be mad. But I think we, those of us that are lucky to go to a lot of the games, obviously being UK based, and obviously yourselves who are go-res, we really wouldn't want it any different, really, would we? I mean, obviously, I think personally for me, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. But maybe I keep going on about this quick start because I need it to calm down. Otherwise, I might be the one that you hear on
Use all the energy.
TV. It's shouting at Skinner, because obviously I didn't shout at Skinner last week. Honest, not at all. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Can I have a good question for you both in terms of the game in itself? So when we looked at the Brighton game in particular, we really stacked the midfield. We had a 5 midfielders there, and knowing that we don't really have a CDM, do you think it could be a good idea to really stack on the midfield just so we can probably try and balance it out the best we can?
You take with that, Namrata, first before I come back on it.
I think we have 4 midfielders now available. So
it's like it's a game of Pokemon. You're trying to find them. We've got 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But don't forget though, Honor and Hannah can really play in that midfield role if we really wanted to as well, because we've seen Honor do that before.
Oh, I wish Ona was a midfielder. She would be better than Jade Moore. She would just be going on physical battles with all the players, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know if Hannah was a midfielder, and I think all 4 of our midfielders will play. I don't know which position they will play. I think Tooney will probably play on the wing again, but I think Mia was talking about two up front. So because I actually don't like Lassie in that winger role. I want both Brune and Alessia up front. We'll have to sacrifice Leah for that, but once again, uh, it will actually be pretty good. Actually, like four of our midfielders and two of them, yeah. Brune and Russo, anything for Brune and Russo. Actually, I also want Russo to play. Yeah, this is like spoiled for choices, but yeah, I definitely want Fuso to actually play this. I think she had a really good performance against Arsenal, was it, in the cup game, and then she hasn't really played that much. And I think against a team that's gonna defend deep, uh, having her on the field would actually not be a bad idea at all.
Yeah, I think I don't think she should play on the wing. I think I know people debate this, but she is a striker. I think Leah is our most natural winger, but she's also struggled this season. And I say that with someone. All right, this has got Honor's name on the back actually, but my home kit has Leah on the back. And obviously, as you were saying, Maisie, what I think we need to do is hopefully, going into next season, but certainly in this season, if we can do what happened at the beginning of the season and players that aren't attackers start scoring, like the way Honor has had a few goals this season, and then obviously our actual strikers start scoring, and that might steady the ship, going forward. In relation to Leicester, I am always going to have more attack than midfield, but I know Skinner's just torturing me by for a while. He decided I didn't want a striker, did he? Really, but if you look at it, the 4-3-3 is the most successful formation in women's football, and I think the midfield is a debate, but I think wouldn't it be great to have Russo, Thomas, and Brun on the same pitch? Like if you're Leicester, little old Leicester, that's gonna scare you, isn't it, Maisie?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got Martha Thomas there, who is so good in narrow spaces, and I feel like especially when it came to the City draw at the stadium that has no back, I actually thought that Martha Thomas was actually missed in that starting 11 place because we was absolutely fatigue in terms of the space. We had no space whatsoever. And with Martha Thomas, where she can get into the narrow spaces, and you had the likes of Greenwood there to starve the likes of Ella Toon, to starve as well Honor, to starve Hannah there as well. It is definitely something what Martha Thomas was needed for. And I feel like with Leicester, knowing that they aren't as tight, as compact as Manchester City, we can really afford to use Martha Thomas as a substitute, I would say. And I think it is, we need Brumball. We need Brumball. We need Brumball. And I think we need to try out what is best for Brun, because we've seen her up front. I know she's had a difficult month with the play teams that she does have, but especially knowing she's coming into a brand new league, because Lyon, Manchester United, the levels are completely different. And would it be interesting to try, as Namrata has said, to try and do two at the front, just to give that little bit of support there for Brun, because we know that as well as Russo, she can score a goal, but she's good at creating as well. So if we had a creative striker alongside Brun, we've got Russo there creating that, passing it to Brun. Brun has an easy tap in. It just builds that confidence from 1 to 100.
Yeah, and I think, as I say, we need her to start scoring, and I think it might be a confidence issue. I think that I was just thinking about Brighton, and it wasn't the fact that I got up at 3:30 in the morning, which I might have mentioned a couple of times to certain people to start that process. But we played basically anybody who's ever played midfield for Man United got a game in midfield. in December, and we broke a duck, and we sort of won 2-0, didn't we? So do you think then maybe just building on Namrata's point then, Namrata, a bit on your own point rather, do you think that might be Skinner's closest version to a comfort blanket? If he throws a load of midfielders on, do you think that might get the team feeling a bit more confident?
Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons why. So I have always been extremely annoyed at the fact that we don't make subs early. We always kind of are very reactive and not proactive. And I think one of the reasons for that would be that we were struggling initially in the first half of the season, and then he found this perfect formula to win games, which was to have as many midfielders on the pitch as possible. And I think he since then, I mean, of course, Bruin came in, and Russo's been in great form. So he changed some bits, but I think he's a bit reluctant to kind of go back because he knows this is a system that works. This is a system which has given us, success in the past. So I think it might be a comfort blanket for him, but I think, I don't think he will really be thinking of going back or not. I think he's just going to look at uh, Leicester, and he's going to put out the team which he thinks is going to be good enough. And I think what he might also do is that, some players who might have been short of confidence in the last 3 matches, or who might not have played that well in the last 4 matches, he might give them a chance to play so that they can build their confidence back. Because honestly, right now in the run that we have, we need every single player to be full of confidence. I know some positions we don't have any replacements, so the defense kind of picks itself. There might be maybe they'll play Kirsty Smith, and I don't understand why we haven't played Kirsty Smith, because when she came in, she was on fire. She was amazing, and then she was suddenly not playing any games at all. And so yeah, I think some of the players, I think it should be a good balance in terms of both rotating some players who haven't had that much time, but also uh, hopefully if we win by 3, 4, 5 goals, all those players who've had these bad matches, given away goals, I hope they can get their confidence back. And if it means that he has to pack the midfield, or if if he'll have 3 forwards or 4 forwards just to make sure they get back in the form of scoring, whatever works, but 5 goals, that's what I want.
Yeah, I can always say that. I'm just looking, obviously, as well. Again, moving to the comments, I think Emma's made some great points here. The first one being Leslie just isn't getting the service. It isn't confidence. I agree. I think obviously I was referring more to Brun because of the fact she's been billed as our striker, and Leslie's been played on the wing. I think it's like to an extent. I think it's like making a football player play tennis. It's not what they're designed to do. Leslie is a striker, but to play her as a striker, she needs the service as well. And I think, and the second point which she's made, I can see here, is quite a good point. That Tooney, you could say she's getting a bit complacent and is not passing as much. And it is putting pressure on the strikers. That's what I mean about like sharing the load throughout the team. On as a defender, you wouldn't necessarily have any pressure to score as a defender, but she scored this season. If we can get some more goals from our defence and from our midfield and spread them out again, that's kind of what I think was happening at the beginning of the year. But I'd like to see Leslie, as I say, in a striker position, and maybe look at what's going on with Tooney, because she has had a lot of games of England, and she has varied a little bit in form. Could you have her as an attacking midfielder? Could you have her, sort of in that sort of just off the striker role? I think that's definitely some of the thoughts that we have to have. And just think another point as well. What Namrata was saying, Maisy, there. Obviously, TJ saying Kirsty Smith versus Brundell is always a tough call. It hasn't been in recent games, though, has it? Yeah, Kirsty does bring a level of physicality, and obviously Hannah had made that big mistake against City. What's your view on Kirsty Smith versus Hannah Blundell?
If you want me to be honest, they're two different fullbacks in a kind of way, because we do look at Kirsty Smith. She's brilliant in the defending situation, and some games it is truly needed when you do look at a team who does have great attack, who it relies on their wide players quite regularly. You do kind of need the likes of Kirsty Smith there as a fullback to go one-on-ones with the wingers, or if that's going to be the strikers, to try and make sure that there isn't going to be any chances created. In terms of Hannah Blundell, for me, she is more of a fullback what goes forward for me, a fullback who can create them chances in terms of putting crosses into the box. They both have two different qualities for me of why we do need to play them both, but especially knowing what happened with Hannah Blundell, even minus Manchester City, she hasn't truly been on that much great form for me. You even look at that Chelsea game in the cup. She wasn't at her best form then, but you can't just pin it onto the one player. There's been quite a few players who hasn't really been on form, and when you do see certain incidents where, just as the Manchester City one, that big massive mistake, I know even if she didn't make that mistake, there would have been 3-1 to Manchester City. So there was still errors there from other individuals. But when you have made such a big error like that, and you've seen it in our own half where all the season ticket holders are sat, where all Manchester United is sat, and Man City is literally on that side with the local drum like that. You literally think, wow, you feel that more anger just knowing that it's your rival in that kind of way. And Mark, in that respect, he needs to have that bit of not discipline, but he needs to say, right, Hannah, I don't know, you're a brilliant fullback. You've done great for me. You've done great service for me throughout this season. However, Leicester, this is a game. Put you on the bench. Let Kirsty Smith have a run, and then we'll have a see of what you think about Reading coming up. That's what I would personally say. You can afford to make a little bit more rotation in the fullback roles when it does come to Leicester. When you've even touched on with Tooney, could that be a good idea even for Tooney to potentially be dropped with the recent form she's actually been on, and perhaps maybe using Fuso, perhaps maybe using Bo Risa as that number 10 role, just so we can have a bit of a switch there in the midfield, because we don't want to overwork these players neither.
Yeah, but as you say, we have got a thinning out schedule coming up, so you could say that, you know, we might have gone through the worst of it in relation to them being overworked. I mean, obviously, just the sort of counterpoint to that, obviously, what Emma's saying here again, Kirsty is good, but isn't consistent. Plus, if you sub Kirsty in, Hannah's head might drop. So, I mean, look at the other side of that. Then, Namrata, is Leicester a team to get your confidence back against? It kind of feels like it might be.
Yeah, 100%. I think I would definitely. I would have actually started Smith against City, and Hannah would have been starting against Leicester anyway. But I think I don't know if so. I was kind of expecting Sophie Bagley to play against City because it's a cup game, but she didn't, and I thought maybe that she would see it as, because I think she let in some soft goals the last time she was playing in the cup and against Chelsea. So maybe if that was the call, and if that was the reason for the call to be taken, her confidence is gone. I mean, of course, we don't have any more cup games, so I don't know when she's going to start. But I think even after the post-match videos that KB kind of posted, Hannah looked like she's crestfallen. And I think, this is like a great chance for her to come back and get her confidence in. So even though I would want Kirsty Smith to start because she's been great, and she is a little inconsistent as well. I think Kirsty Smith, what she does really well is when she comes back, the first 3-4 games she'll be really good, and then the performance will kind of drop. So yeah, I would definitely want Blundell to play this game. I'd want us to have a clean sheet so Mary also gets her confidence back up, because I think she also made some errors against City. So yeah, I wouldn't make a lot of wholesale changes, and we always say, maybe Jackie's storing her one goal for a special occasion, or maybe the 100th game. Like, what's more
That's a
special
good
than
point.
this?
A
So,
meaningful game. I
yeah,
said a meaningful game, didn't I?
yeah,
So maybe it is an Old
yeah.
Trafford.
I'm wearing orange. I'm wearing orange for her.
I was about to say wear it tomorrow, but it's tomorrow where you are anyway,
I'll
isn't
wear the same.
it?
I'll wear the same.
Wear it later today for you
Yeah,
when the match is on.
yeah.
I mean, we touched on Mary there as well, just sort of looking on that. One of the things that I liked and saw also happen last game was that she was having a go at some of our defenders. And she was quite vocal, particularly with Hannah and others. Now, I kind of like that because, you think about some of the old, I mean, I don't really know as much of the men's game, but I know you guys definitely do. But even I know, back in the day, Schmeichel, for example, if they had done something wrong, their defense would know about it. It was essentially like a Ferguson on the pitch to an extent. I mean, the only thing that I did wonder about that is whether or not there was a bit of discord there, because because we let a few goals in. So I think really, I mean, what's your view on Mary? I mean, obviously she's our number one. She's got no threat with Sophie Bagley, but she probably needs a good game as well, just to calm the nerves a little bit, Maisy.
Yeah, I do really like Mary Earps, and I agree. I prefer a vocal goalkeeper. A goalkeeper needs to be vocal. You need to command your centre backs, your full backs in front of you to say, right, position here, go for me, put here, and here. You need to be vocal. When you have done something wrong, you need to say you've done something wrong. You need to say, right, this wasn't right. Be here in the future, kind of thing. And not just it shows a little bit of frustration there for Mary Earps, but it also shows about Mary's leadership roles. It shows that she is a leader on the pitch, and it also shows that she is a player which the younger players, who is that going to be Carrie Jones, if that's going to be, of course, Kana Solskjaer when she properly breaks through into the WSL, to look up to Mary Earps as a leader at Manchester United also. I do think Sophie Bagley, she does need a little bit of game time. I do believe that perhaps that she might get a game or so, maybe nearer to the end of the season. We don't know, but she does need to at least one game because of what happened with Chelsea, and she got the red card as well. So I think at least one game, just so she can feel a little bit less on edge when it comes to the following season, and then she has to play the cup games again, because it can knock some confidence there of her.
Oh, I disagree strongly. This should be interesting. No, you just can't. I mean, I can only imagine that if you did that, we'd be out of top three contention. I get what you're saying.
Even if we played them against like Aston Villa, for instance.
Nat would be very angry with you for assuming Aston Villa is an easy match.
Yeah. I mean,
if we subbed her on,
this is what we're here to debate, isn't it? At the end of the day, I think she knows she's a number two keeper at the minute. It was questionable at the beginning of the season, but I think that we have to stick with our number one keeper throughout. I get what you're saying about confidence, but we've got the whole of the summer pre-season to get her confidence back. We've got possibly a different team, different structure. We could have a Champions League, which would give her more work next season. And I don't know. I like Sophie Bagley. I do. But I did see, and the main issue that I have against teams with taller players is that she does get crowded out in the box, and I would worry about that. And I would think if we were using her without, in the case of Mary being injured or obviously suspended, then it would be a weird signal from Skinner, because I think we do need top three this season. But I'll throw it out to you, Namrata. What do you think? Would you use Bagley or not?
I don't think Mark will use Bagley, and I think one of the reasons which we're forgetting is that Mary Earps is in contention for the England number one place. So all three of the goalkeepers, they started each match, and Mary needs good performances to kind of get back up because I think Hannah Hampton had a really good match. I think I didn't see the match where Roebuck was the goalkeeper. So, but I think in women's football, club managers do keep in mind that their players are in contention for a Euros place, and they try to play them as much as possible. And you know, I would like Bagley to get at least one more chance, right? Because I wouldn't want her to have the last match of the season to be that loss against Chelsea. And I think she let in a soft goal, so maybe just to get her confidence back up. But again, again, very
all
fine.
these sentimental people I've got tonight now.
I don't know. I think I'll stick with Mary. Uh, and I think Mark will stick with her as well.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a view, and I'm joking in the sense, but it just didn't feel. I think. I mean, we've seen some of the things that Mary. What was a quote that he said that they were speaking loudly or vigorously at one point when they had this chat on the sideline, Mary and Mark. I think they'd be speaking very vigorously as Mark runs away, being chased by Mary if she was moved away for Sophie. I mean, Sophie's got time, and and I'm sure United will work with her, and I'm sure that that at the end of the day, it's what a goalkeeper. It's the life of a goalkeeper, isn't it? When you're not the number one, but that does kind of bring. Go on.
If we are third and we get into Champions League, we'll have like 1 million qualifiers in UWCL, and Bagley is going to have loads of practice next season. So that's what we need to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, we need to focus on getting third just for Sophie Bagley. We're going for third just for Sophie Bagley, right?
Exactly. That was the word I was looking for. Vix has found it here in the comments. Talking passionately. I might use that as well. I think sometimes I can talk a bit passionately. But yeah, it links quite nice actually to my sort of final question, really. And I took a bit of inspiration. A few other people do a bit of a jokey question, but it's quite interesting. So don't look too scared, Namrata. Don't worry, it can't be that bad. Trump promise. So out of the two, right, which two members of the current squad would you invite for dinner and why? I'll include the management team as well.
I know who Andy will take for tea.
I didn't say I was paying. I didn't. Which two members of all right, whichever comes with an answer first, Namrata or Maisy, whichever comes an answer first. Which two, either manager, so obviously coach and staff managers, or squad, would you take for dinner and why?
I think I'll have Ivana, for sure. Like, she seems like a fun person, and I just kind of have the feeling she'll like the spicy Indian food. So I want to have her. And why not Martin? Because we're obviously blocked on Twitter, so maybe it's good to have a face-to-face chat, right? So yeah, the two of them. And I can ask Martin, why are you not starting Fuso?
You've nearly achieved the impossible there, which just made me speechless. We might ruminate behind that and come back on that. So Namrata, you're saying Martin Ho and Ivana. Maisy, what about you?
One I'd definitely love to take for dinner would be Mannion. I can imagine she'd be absolutely like, you look at her on the pitch, she looks like so stern. She looks like if you went near her, she'd literally like be like a wolf. But I can imagine like she's got such a fun side to her, and especially when we seen the Instagram story that she would do the Irish dance if she scored. I would love to see this Irish dance. So please, Mannion, when you come back, please will you do a header from a corner, please, so we can see this Irish dance. But I think she's got like, I think she'll have like such a fun, bubbly side towards her, and I would agree with Namrata. I would love to have Fuso there as well, just because she's always so happy. She's always so cheerful. She looks like she's just lively as well, and I think her and Mannion would really complement each other.
So we got two Fuso fans here. Well, I think Maisy might have got half of my answer. I would say Skinner, and Mary.
You won't get a word in, Andy. If you invite Skinner, you'll have to be quiet the entire time.
I think it'd be an interesting conversation to ask a few questions regarding our midfield dilemma, which obviously is coming up later at 8:30. We're going to show the video of the audio that's already out there of that, but there's a particular midfield dilemma who some say is one of our own. That I'd be interested to see why she's always one of our own. And the second person I think would be Mary, because I'm a big fan of Mary. I think she's very funny. I do worry I'll end up on TikTok though, if that was the case. And essentially, she could be my bodyguard against Mark, because we've discussed the talking passionately defense, and I think I'd talk passionately, he'd talk passionately, and Mary would as well. But I just thought that was an interesting thought experiment, because I'm sure it will very much stay a thought experiment. But yeah, no, I think we're all behind the team always, and I think tomorrow, or as I say in your case, Namrata, later today, is going to be interesting, and I think we could get that win. So I'll just ask one other question, which is score prediction then for tomorrow, Namrata.
5-0. I'm staying with my 5-goal match result.
Don't give me a heart attack. Say the words for United. Just
oh me. God! Imagine Twitter if it was the other way around.
Okay, so 5-0, 5-0. Should we go scorers, or am I just being a bit greedy? Scorers?
Bruno hat-trick, headers, 3 headers.
You visualized a header. I'll take it.
All 3 goals are headers. Jackie's goal for 100th game, and kind of weird. Dan Calvin.
Ooh, okay, that'd be interesting. I think Nat. I think friend of the show, Nat. I think should be on the pitch before the referee whistles to signal the goal. To be honest, if it went in, Maisy, what about you?
I think it's going to be a 3-0 for Manchester United. In terms of goal scorer, I think Bo Reese will be one, especially if she does make a start for Manchester United. I miss Bo Reese a goal. I want to see a Bo Reese goal. I really, really love Bo Reese. I think she's class. I think as well, Russo's going to score from a corner. I think that will be assisted by Katie Zellum. Get it in the box. Russo, head in. Second goal. And third goal, I'm actually going to go for Katie Zellum off a set piece.
Wow. Okay. No, I know she did it last week, but that's good.
That was from a corner, and it was, oh my God, it was such a brilliant goal to look at. And I watched the goal about 10 times, thinking, how did she get? I was even questioning, I was like, how did she get that in? How did she get that in?
I think, to be honest, you're saying the same thing. I think it surprised everybody. Okay, so I think after me going, I like goals. I think 2-0 to United. I think we just haven't got.
Too safe.
I think Skinner would sort of go back to his triple diamond backflip triangle ideas when we get back second 2-0. But I would say, I'd say it's a fair shot to say Leslie, would score, and I would say, maybe something a bit out of kilter. Hannah Blundell, maybe something a bit, like a nice redemption story, might be nice. But obviously we look like we've come to the end of the show. Thank you very, very much Namrata and Maisy for coming on tonight. We've got a few suggestions here. Vicky saying you've earned a beer now. So I don't know if you're in a bit of oblige her, but you're allowed now at, is it 1 a.m.?
1:35.
There you go. And Niles kindly said that you've earned a cocktail, Maisy. So 8 o'clock here, but we can maybe try and justify it a bit differently.
I like how I don't understand how I'm a beer person and Maisy is like a cocktail person.
I wasn't even guess what I'm drinking.
Our personalities, right?
I'm a beer kind of girl. Don't worry, Namrata. I'll tell you what. I'll drink a beer with you.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, thank you for everyone in the comments tonight. Obviously, it's the first show on the channel, first live show on the channel. As I say, coming up at 8:30 is the video of a fantastic debate that Namrata, Mia, Chloe Tuxballs, and Nat did midweek about the midfield dilemma. Really interesting debate. Views on Jackie v Katie. And with potential midfield lineups for tomorrow. But all I could say is thanks for bearing with us. Thanks for watching. And I will hopefully see everybody next week.
Bye.